is a pleasure to have you aboard. This is RotoFanatic.com's Quality Start. It's Monday, August 31st, 2020. I'm here to talk baseball. We got trade deadline. Yes, can you feel it? Depending on when you watch this on Monday, the trade deadline will be almost upon you, or it will have passed. We're going to talk about the trades that have happened as of this morning the best we can. We had a monster trade with Seattle and San Diego. A lot of impact there. We'll break it all down. We'll talk about the fantasy impact of all the trades that have occurred, and we'll look at the bullpens and how they'll be changing based on who's moving where. Trevor Rosenthal, Michael Givens, a couple of names that have moved from one bullpen to another. And you can always rely on our very own Mr. Doctor, Mike Carter. He's the best. I'm telling you, this guy is so cool. He's funny, too. He's funny and cool. And third thing, he knows his stuff. He spends quality time every week on his closing remarks. You can read it every Sunday. It comes out every week on Sundays. Latest bullpen reports. It already got up-to-date info on the Trevor Rosenthal deal and what to expect in Kansas City. He doesn't miss a bullpen. He's got you covered, and that's what you want. He cares about your fantasy team. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I'm sure he cares a little bit because he's just a nice guy. So check that out. And, of course, Nathan Dockin, who is our main man in the Dakotas, always taking care of business with starting pitching. He is the aficionado. This guy knows pitching. He's been doing his starting pitcher barometer for years. This is a guy who understands what it takes to rank pitchers and give you the best inside info on starting pitching for fantasy baseball. So check out his starting pitcher barometer this week. I bet he'll have something positive about Ian Anderson of the Braves in there. I'm just saying. I feel good about that. So check all that out on RotoFanatic.com. Quite a weekend in baseball. We had 3 Cubs do something fabulous. They set a record that had never been done before. Really cool. I got a feeling all 3 of them might be the dudes that abided this weekend. Also, more action in Chicago with Luis Robert. He did something fun. So we got a lot to talk about. It's all baseball related. It's trade deadline Monday. I'm pumped. The Quality Start is ready to get going. Let's play ball.
Take it easy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you will.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that.
Take comfort in knowing that Chicago is in good hands. We got some hitters who abided by the rules, and not only that, made some records in the process. Poor Luis Castillo. That's 1. And this is probably going to be 2. And then that's 3. And that was it for Castillo. Then it was time for 3 more. That's 1 for Hayward, 1 for Happ, and then to top it all off, a grand salami from Schwarbino, the great Schwarbino. And the Cubs become the first team in Major League Baseball history to have their starting outfield all have multi-home run games. Quite an impressive feat when you consider the fact that Luis Castillo had come into the game only allowing a single home run so far. So maybe you could say he was due, but this just got plain ugly. Kudos to the Cubs, though.
Robert in the air, left field. Gordon back at the track. It is over! The Sox are in first place!
Jason Benetti with the call there of the walk-off game winner for Luis Robert. What a good time it is to be a White Sox fan. Luis strikes out a ton still, and he loves swinging. He leads the majors in swing percentage at 60%, which is a lot of fun for him, but not always guaranteeing of a good time at the plate. However, he's crushing the ball 91.5 miles per hour on his exit velocity based on his batted ball events.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
The state of bullpens around Major League Baseball are, well, varied at best. Mark Melanson's an example of a guy who's been pretty consistent with 6 out of 7 saves this season, although Friday night he got roasted by Scott Kingery, who's been so god-awfully bad this season with a 3-run walk-off homer. Gregory Soto has taken over the closer's role in Detroit as Joe Jimenez got the hold against the Twins on Sunday, but Soto's been rock solid and he deserves this opportunity. Jesse Hahn in Kansas City is a name to watch. He got his first career save Saturday, coming in for a struggling Ian Kennedy. And with Trevor Rosenthal off to San Diego, now it's wide open. Even though Josh Stolmont has been a real stud, Hahn could be the guy. And then Sam Coonrod got his first career save over the weekend, though Tyler Rogers and Tony Watson have been in the mix. So who the hell knows what's going on in San Francisco? It's trade deadline Monday. Can you feel the intensity? I love it. I'm so jacked. I could talk trades forever. Sometimes trades are more fun than actual baseball itself. Isn't that weird? When you're a fantasy manager, do you ever find yourself just wanting to make trades instead of actually doing anything else? I mean, drafting and trades, the two most enjoyable things a fantasy manager can ever do. Am I wrong? We got a lot of trades that happened over the weekend. Trevor Rosenthal is now a Padre. Who's going to close in KC? I have no idea. Jesse Hahn looked really good Saturday, briefly against the White Sox, closing out his first major league save. That's a bonus. So we got to make sense of all these trades, and we're going to break them down bit by bit. But first, here's our very own RotoFanatic.com's Dave Funnell. Dave is known for his weekly piece that is out every Wednesday on RotoFanatic.com. We're going streaking! Honey's KFC still open? Yeah, it's a great graphic. Shout out to Will and Alex, by the way. They do great work on our graphics, and they're behind-the-scenes guys, but I really want them to get kudos. Best graphics in the business. Anyways, Dave's piece comes out every Wednesday. He talks about who's hot and who is not. So make sure you check that out every Wednesday. But for now, let's hear Dave's opinions on a few different trades, as he had a few musings to offer.
It was a busy weekend of wheeling and dealing in Major League Baseball, with many teams making some minor changes to their rosters heading into an unprecedented 16-team postseason. With the trade deadline happening later today, there are sure to be more deals to come. However, here are my top 5 deals from the past weekend. Number 5. The Red Sox trade away veteran first baseman Mitch Moreland to the Padres for a pair of minor league prospects who are outfielder Yaison Rosario and third baseman Hudson Potts. From the Padres' perspective, they get a veteran hitter in Moreland who has already had a .328 batting average with 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, and a 1.177 OPS, while being the beneficiary of a platoon role. He'll wind up in the same platoon role with Eric Hosmer in San Diego, though I'm not sure if it will take away too many at-bats as they're both left-handed, and they both hit the ball hard this season. Moreland isn't a must-add in fantasy, but is someone to monitor, especially if Hosmer goes down. The Red Sox get 2 somewhat promising prospects in return. While both are a few years away from being at the major league level, they both were in the top 20 list of Padres prospects over at MLB Pipeline. Number 4. The Los Angeles Angels trade away Tommy La Stella for Franklin Barreto. The definition of a win-win trade. La Stella has been a nice little fantasy nugget in 2020 as he's been able to get on base and show a little bit of power with his 4 home runs thus far. With a career-low K percentage, he's seeing the ball well and making the most of his opportunities at a plate. He's a huge upgrade over Tony Kemp, and he should see a ton of playing time for the A's. As for Barreto, he's someone who could use a change of scenery, as he's never quite lived up to the hype of his minor league track record. Number 3. The Atlanta Braves acquire Baltimore Orioles left-hander Tommy Milone in hopes of aiding their struggling rotation. He is much needed for their depleted staff and should get an instant bump due to additional opportunities for wins. He's also in the same division area as before, so his opponent difficulty doesn't go up too much. Over a long season, I wouldn't trust him much, but over a shortened season, he's worth an add, just due to his ability to limit walks and for the movement this year that he's getting on his pitches. Keep him on a short leash in case he fails, but I see him as someone whose status has been upgraded thanks to the trade. Number 2. The Colorado Rockies trade for Orioles right-handed reliever Michael Givens, who has a 1.38 ERA and 19 strikeouts over only 13 innings this season. Givens did everything the Orioles probably hoped he would do, in that he showcased his stuff and made himself look like a viable trade option. With Hunter Harvey on his way back, he looks like to be a must-add to replace the traded reliever in Baltimore. As for Givens, Given the volatility of the Rockies' bullpen, he could be in line for some saves down the line due to his experience. While pitching at Coors is tough for pitchers, he comes from Coors Light in Camden Yards. His numbers suggest he's been a bit unlucky in 2020, but time will only tell if that will continue. My number one trade of the weekend was the Padres acquiring reliever Trevor Rosenthal from the Royals and sending outfield prospect Edward Olivares to Kansas City. Rosenthal was a ghost of his former self, racking up 7 saves this year for the Royals, while also racking up the best K rate of his career. Heading into San Diego, he looks to be in line for some saves, especially if the scuffling Emilio Pagan continues his shaky ways. The Padres are in win mode now, and they aren't afraid to move their future for a shot at the present. Edward Olivares had a tremendous spring training, but looks to be a work in progress. As our own Brad Johnson said, he's got a 4th outfielder floor with a Franchy Cordero ceiling. That's not bad at all.
Great stuff, Dave. Thank you very much. Don't forget to follow Dave on Twitter. He's awesome, by the way. Let's talk about a few other trades that happened. Those weren't all the trades. Those were just some. We have a lot to talk about here. We had a big trade with Seattle and San Diego, a big 7-player swap, and there's more rumors flying around. So let's break that down and more right here. I just wanted everybody to know that Dave Funnell recorded on Sunday night, so he doesn't have the hindsight and the full view of what's going on around 12 o'clock noon on Monday during the trade deadline. So I'm here to fill in the gaps. And Mike Clevenger was just traded about 15 minutes ago. So let's break it down. He is on the move with Greg Allen to San Diego. Sunshine's heading to the Sunshine City on the coast of Cali, living it up in SoCal. He's going to be living large and having a good time. And I'm sure his Cleveland teammates are devastated to see him go. But, they're just going to have to suck it up and do their best moving forward. But let's focus on the haul that Cleveland got in return. It is quite a haul, and I think it needs to be broken down in some detail. I am sure that Cleveland is disappointed they're not getting Will Myers, but Josh Naylor's not so bad. He's a first baseman by trade. He's 5'11", 250, so he's a big fella. But he does have a stolen base on the year, and he's more athletic than you realize. He has played outfield in the past, but that is not necessarily his strong suit. Cal Quantrill, however, is a really solid pitcher. He doesn't have amazing stuff, but with the way Cleveland can mold command, I believe that Cal Quantrill is an ideal fit for the system that Cleveland runs there. And it's only a matter of time before we start talking about Cal Quantrill along with Aaron Savale and Zach Plesac and so on and so forth. Austin Hedges is not known for his defense, but look at that mammoth swing and blast to left field right there. He has power, and he can provide more offense to a team that desperately needs offense. So that's why Hedges is a value for Cleveland right now. Roberto Perez is not getting the job done, and Cleveland needs offense any way they can get it. So I like Hedges as a current buy low and possibly a boon to this offense. This is Owen Miller, and he's going to hit a home run off that guy, Justin Dunn, who's pitching well in the major leagues for the Seattle Mariners right now. Owen Miller's 23 years old. He's a shortstop, and he played at Double-A last year. He hit 13 home runs, and he had an OBP of 350+, showing a pretty good eye. Gabriel Arias is an excellent shortstop as a defender. In fact, he could be the heir apparent to Francisco Lindor once he's traded or whenever Lindor leaves. Because that's happening eventually, Cleveland fans. I'm sorry. But he showed tremendous pop last year with 17 home runs in the California State League. This is not a guy who's going to walk much ever, but if you put his defense at short with a little bit of a pop that he has, this could be the heir apparent for Francisco Lindor in 2 years. And remember that he's only 20 years old. The last piece is this man right here, Joey Cantillo, 6'4", 220-pound lefty from Hawaii. In 2 stops at A-ball in 2019, he struck out 144 guys in 111 innings pitched. That's pretty darn good. And he's only 20 years old. He's got 2 pitches, basically. He's a fastball changeup. He's trying to work on a curve, but it's a work in progress still. With the way Cleveland does pitching, this could be a guy. He's a power thrower. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a couple of years come up, start making a difference, and be a gamer. So here it is, succinctly wrapped up for you, tied up in a nice little bow and presented to you on a table. Happy holidays. Clevenger and Greg Allen are going to San Diego. Josh Naylor, Cal Quantrill, Austin Hedges, Gabriel Arias, Owen Miller, and Joey Cantillo are on their way to Cleveland for a fresh new beginning. Good riddance, Clevenger, said some Cleveland people. And another major deal involving San Diego. This is Austin Nola, formerly of the Seattle Mariners. This is him taking on the Padres last Tuesday when they got to Chris Paddock. They roasted Paddock. So maybe they thought, wow, this Nola guy's really good, because they acquired him on Sunday night. Austin Nola is now part of the Padres. And the Padres are giving up a couple of key pieces that they would probably not want to give up, but that's how the game is played. That's Taylor Trammell going opposite field. Look at that. That's a beautiful hit. Taylor Trammell's been traded from Cincinnati to San Diego. Never really got a chance to play for San Diego in the major leagues. Now he's got the opportunity to play for the Mariners, who also have several outfield prospects that they really like. Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez. So it'll be interesting to see how Trammell fits in. But the guy who could benefit most is this guy right here, Ty France. This guy, look at him. Ooh, I just love watching this guy hit. He hits and he hits and he hits when he gets the chance to play. He has often not had enough opportunities in San Diego and been limited, but when he gets on the field, he makes things happen. Over the weekend at Coors Field, he had a really solid game, drove in 4 runs, went 3 for 4. He can make a difference for Seattle now, and he might make a difference for your fantasy team down the stretch if you pick him up, because the Mariners can play him all that they want. Dylan Moore's got injuries. They got a bunch of middle infielders that are so-so, and Ty France can play second and third base and first base. So here it is, broken down for you once again. Austin Nola, Austin Adams, Dan Altavilla on their way to San Diego. Ty France, Taylor Trammell, Luis Torrens, and Andres Munoz, a very unique reliever who had to have Tommy John surgery, so he's missed the 2020 season, but he was a very, very highly touted reliever for San Diego. So Seattle has a good reliever there. If he can come back from that surgery and be who he was supposed to be, that's a great grab for Seattle. And I really like this haul overall for both sides. Good trade, guys. And now it's time for This Day in Fantasy History for August 31st. All right, This Day in Fantasy History for August 31st. It's the last day of the month. And what do we got? Well, we got relievers kind of in the focus today. 2 relievers in particular who still pitch today. One of them made an impressive record on this date in 2011. The other one made his long-anticipated debut. I remember it well. I was really excited for it. You want to see who it is? Well, check this out. Diddle-oo, 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 diddle-oo. On this date, August 31st, 2011, Craig Kimbrell sets a rookie record with his 41st save when he retires the side in order in the Braves' 3-1 victory over the Nats at Turner Field. The 23-year-old closer will finish the season with 46, surpassing Neftali Feliz' saves record established the year before with the Rangers. Now, I admit, I really kind of love this one. I do. I love seeing the Yankees get torched. 22-0 on this date, August 31st. Never forget it, Yankees fans. Omar Vizquel had 6 hits in this game. That's a great fantasy day, and what an underrated guy he was. But the 22-0 defeat was the worst defeat in the history of Yankees baseball, and it happened in the Bronx. And finally, on this date in 2010, Aroldis Chapman made his major league debut, and the fans went nuts. I mean, I watched the footage of this, and I put myself back in that time when he debuted. I remembered it well. I just hadn't thought about it in a while, but it was so much excitement. He was 22 years old. He was throwing 4 pitches at 100 miles per hour or more, and it was just a really exciting moment in baseball. He's kind of lost the luster of what he was, but he's still a really dominant and hard-throwing dude, so kudos to him.